Alright, we're going to take this leg off the motor. 11mm bolts. Alright, we're going to take this prop shaft off it. We're going to see why the water pump's not working in it. Instead of just, you know, getting a water pump and that, wasting money, we want to have a look and see what's going on with the water pump. Hold on by 4 bolts. There's 2 bolts out. Looks like someone's put some sealant in the bolt holes. Rightio, let's see if we can get this off. Rightio, I think we've got a bit of corrosion there. I have to put it in gear because we've got a little screw in the leg of it. Lay it over. Got this little screw hiding. Oh, it's not a screw, it's an Allen key. It's a little, bloody little thing too. Just remember, when you're working on these motors at home yourself, always remember, don't go forcing stuff off. This is a shift linkage here. To get a T-handle one. What size is that? It's a 4mm. Yeah, just don't go forcing stuff off and damaging stuff. Always, if you're going to prise this apart, use a piece of wood. Just be responsible, otherwise you end up wrecking stuff. There's a, whoops, there's a little Allen key bolt come out, holding the gear shift linkage on. I haven't got a real lot of room in the shed. I've got the bloody it's real windy out today, so what we do is we'll carefully slide it out. We can have a look what's going. I'll just move that engine back. I'll clean all that out and that before I go putting the leg back on it. Just move that out of the way because I've got this bloody other motor here too. And let's screws in the top of it. Always use the right screwdriver. Jesus, aren't they tight? Oh, bloody hell. I'm going to have to get me hand impactor for them. You just got to be careful of this older stuff because you can end up doing damage. I've got a hand impactor here, what I'll use. Find the biggest piece that will fit in there really tight. You all want to go rounding these off in there, I tell you. Both of these motors aren't pumping water. Whoops. I don't know why these are so tight. Someone's already been at them. I should have showed you that before I touched the threads, but you can see the threads on them. They're all a bit skew with on them all. And that was that driver I was talking about. You don't want to go damaging that. So what we'll do is we can sit this back in. I'll get this close up anyway because I've got them all loose. And always use the biggest and the tightest fitting screwdriver as you got. I'll have to clean that shaft up too before I go trying to move that seal. And when you undo it, always put a lot of downward pressure on the screwdriver. Don't let the screwdriver come out a little bit because they'll be flopping around and end up stripping them. A lot of the reason too why they rust like this, like as you can see here. And this is not rust actually, this is it's old grease. But all that's going to have to come off. So I'm going to have to get a rag. I'm going to have to clean all that. That's all going to have to be spotless. So I've got a rag over here. About that impact of what you're seeing. Doesn't matter what brand you got, they're just hand impact. Don't go using cordless, you know, wheel nut and driver impact tools on these sorts of things because because them things are so violent. If you go put pressure on there and that fitting, the flathead driver piece slips off it a little bit while you got a lot of pressure on there at speed. Once it slips once, it's just going to bounce around on there and it'll just strip that right out, and then you'll be getting some screws. I mean, these are tapered screws too. I'm just going to spray some carby cleaner, carby throttle body cleaner on a rag. I'm going to wipe this whole shaft and keep my hand up. Because all this crap I'm probably going to have to get some sandpaper on that, a bit of Scotch-Brite, because that's not going to not going to come off that easy. Seeing that, it's not an important part of the rub my fingers down to make sure that wherever you can touch it, oh. See if I can slide all this water pump gear off it. I don't think there is nothing wrong with the actual pump. It's full of dirt, and also there's a little pinhole in here and it's blocked. I don't know what the story is with that. That bump there. What the go is with that? But yeah, she's not going to be going. I'll get a little tool. I've got a little tool here somewhere in the bin. Get a little tool and I'll show you. Bloody this thing's not going to be able to prime without that hole there being unblocked. It's full of shit. It's clogged up to the max. You ain't going to be doing anything like that. Probably going to have to get a bit of wire or something. Where is the bloody hole? Righty. It's clogged up that tight. Full of this dirt shit. Full of that shit there. Whatever that shit is. Don't know. But it's not going to be able to, it's just having over water, an airlock in it. Might have to bloody get a small drill bit or something and drill that hole out. A little micro drill bit. It's got a lump in here for some reason. Never seen that before. It doesn't look like it's supposed to be in there. I don't know how strong that is. I think that white shit there, I think that's from not flushing your motor out properly. And this bloody hole in here, it's clogged up, so it won't pump water. I bet you the other motor would have got exactly the same, the 15 horsepower. I bet you that motor's like that too. Same deal. Be interesting to see the impeller in another motor though. Got a small drill bit here somewhere. reckon I'll be able to, where is it, right there, use that small drill bit, cordless drill, and I'll run that through that. Just it seems the housing's been damaged on the outside, but what would damage it though? Like, I mean, what would cause that? It's not like no one's been. The only thing this thing does is just spin round. Look at that shit. That thing is blocked. Try and get it started on this end. Thing is that it's only an impeller, that rubber impeller here that spins around in it. I mean, that looks good. This is why it's not pumping water. Bloody, it's got an airlock. Can't get rid of that airlock. Right. I don't want to go drilling it. Too much. And I'm definitely going to have to do something with it though, 'cause maybe the person who put this impeller in, maybe they just didn't, there's nothing wrong with the impeller. Bloody, they didn't unblock that hole. That's what they did. It's got a bit of corrosion in it though. She must have been definitely run in salt water, because you don't get that shit in it from fresh water. Need something really sharp. Something small, like a very fine bit of wire. Got some sort. I don't know where I'm going to get that from. Maybe Maybe I'll use one of these spray gun cleaners. That's what I'll be using for it, by the looks of it. I'll find the right one. Alright, I've got the hole cleaned out, and in the back of it, with a lot of mess, a lot of stuff around. And what I'll do is, after I clean this up, I'll bring this back for the reassemble. I want to just go and check out on this part, tell you like what the stories of this. And when I do that, I'll bring this back for the install, because I've got to clean this up anyway before I go putting anything on there. This is going to need to be cleaned up. Leaving that like that. The water pump looks good. It don't need changing. I don't know when this was done or anything, but nothing wrong with this. So clean this up and I'll bring this back when I'm Alright, our next stage is, after you do these up, you only do them up hand tight. After we've done them up, sit the shaft in there, get some grease. Want to grease up the spline. Okay, putting that spline back in there without no grease on it. You've got to line up that tube there. That's our water, and we've got to put our shifter linkage screw back in. The shaft goes up in there. Right, so to do this, I can see it. Line that water. Don't know if you can see that, but I've got to put my water tube in, which I got that in, but we need to move the engine back that little bit to get this. Look at that, it's right in the hot spot. Put that gear shaft Allen key back in there. That's to put the motor in gear, in reverse and in neutral. Don't need to tighten the shit out of it. Strip it. Alright, I've got it in line. I'll push it up and put the bolts in it, and that's it. Try and get you a better view of this. I'll just hold the shit, man. You've got a water pipe in there you've got to line up. I have to sit this down for a sec. And you've got to move your gear, your forward and reverse controls. And you've got to move the, not forward and reverse controls, forwards and reverse gearbox. So I had to move the gearbox linkage forwards to get it all the way in. and you've got to line up your water tube in there. Don't go forcing it back on there, just take your time and she'll go on there for you. Just don't go getting pissed off and start getting all shitty and you know what blokes are like. A lot of blokes start getting a little bit short fused and you know it's not going in there. You know, they start reefing on shit. That's a typical bloke for you. Oh yeah, and if this was a customer engine or something that you was working on, or someone you know's engine, when you go doing that, put some of this shit down. This tape, just stick him across the engine, just like that. And what you can do with it, the purpose of that is that when that ratchet rubs on it, when you go to tighten shit, it's not going to rub into your paint and damage the paint on the prop. Little trick for everyone there. Just remember, you don't just because it's an old engine, you don't have to be rough as guts on it. It's a bloody good engine, this. So what I'll do is just turn her over. I'll start her up after a few hours once that sealant dries. Smell some petrol coming out of it. On there, and the cardboard will stop you from scratching it all. Right, got one more to do. Alright. And after you work on this, we'll get some degreaser and I'll wash it. Alright. That's it. I'll stand the engine up. And when she dries that sealant, we'll start her up and give her a run. I've got this one on a bottle of Mix and Premix. Got this 15 horsepower hooked up, pulled the leg out and cleaned the propeller and unblocked it. Got it all rigged up. At the moment I'm just starting the mode of a drill because I'm going to swap the pull starter out of this one. This impeller's all corroded at the bottom of this 10 horsepower. I'm going to swap the pull starter off that one and put on this one. Give it a look. Start it up, give it a yeah, that's it with the 15 horsepower motor. I swapped the pull starter over off the 10. Put that on. This one's got a, she's croaking there, as you'll see by my video what I made of it, but it refuses to pump water, so she's no good. The motor runs good though, but yeah, I've been focusing my time on this 15 horsepower. So yeah, I'll pull start on her, cover on her, pulling her up a bit after I've got my greasy hands all over it. Should be a good motor. The pull starter design them is not the best. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any questions about it, and I'll be happy to answer. Just going to do a quick reminder too that if you're using one of these bottles and you don't have a hole in the top of it so the air doesn't escape, it won't run off it. I've had an airlock in it and I just got the airlock out of it, but yeah, that's what you got to be careful of, airlocks in them. So if you're going to use one of these bottles and rig it up like this to run an outboard, I've just got a hose and it's silicone in the bottom of it, and yeah, just put a hole in the top of it. That's why you need an outboard drum, but you can run them like this. I just got to make do with what I got. I think the next thing when I go to buy more engines is I'm going to get myself an outboard stand and an outboard drum so I can run them properly. Right, yeah, we're back at these motors. I'm going to take this because this one is bent down, and this one's good. It's not bent, so this is why this one probably failed before. So I'm going to unbolt that, unbolt this one, put it on the 15 and put the full starter on it, and I'll be doing something about this fuel hose too. This is the one that come out of it. I think you can see a bit of a problem here. One of them's bent right up, the one's straight, so we're going to put the straight one in the 15 horsepower motor. Now bolts here. Now I'm going to set this up. After a lot of stuffing around, getting that back in there. It's a good one. The next thing to do is then work out a way to set this up. One busted. Just trying to work out what I'm going to do with that. When I do that, I'll bring this back. Alright, the good thing is with these, they're universal. So that's handy. So I had a broken one that I wanted. This one's off the bottom of the other motor, and I've just pulled the pin out, which is right here. I'm going to use it. So now they're exactly the same. So yeah, good on your Chrysler. This actual party of the pin was into come out of that holder. That's actual pinhooks into it in here like that. If guys actually made them out of metal, these, and you made the spring longer, this would never fuck up. They'd be foolproof. They'd never have a problem again. But yeah, since guys made it, problems. Four and a half. Right. Now let's wind it again. Half, one and a half, two and a half, three, four and a half. Right, there's the hole. Grease on the top of it here. That way when it comes up. Perfect. Now we have a working pull starter, which was working this motor. Now the next thing we've got to do is swap this fuel on. Fuel barb in here. Careful not to damage anything. Take that piece of hose off it. We need to get that out somehow. Thanks to the last bloke, he's done a nice job. I need something I can tap into. We're going to break the switch. We don't want to hit the pull starter. So something to knock that with. You can't. There's not enough sticking out the other end of it. They've drove it in there that much. And it's in there, so really well. I don't know how I'm going to get that out. I haven't worked that part out yet. It's bloody nothing sticking out of here. That little bit there, you see. So I don't know how to remove that. And I don't want to be prizing off any of the linkages or anything either. I'm doing any damage, nothing, so. I don't know how he's. When he's drilling the plastic, make sure you save the thread. So pick the drill out the hole till it's large enough, and then dig that inner piece out. Don't go try not to mangle up the thread in it. As you can see, trying to get that old bit out. Saving the thread at the same time. It's all full of corrosion in here. It's got it. And there you go. Haven't damaged the thread at all. I'll clean all that out and I'll use that other switch off. This motor here, I tried this one. It already is loose, as you can see. It looks like it's got a bloody crack in it too. Shit, I didn't see that. That should be alright though. And yeah, I've got to clean that out now to get to this bottom bit of shit here, what's jammed in there, where you connect your fuel up to. Then get a pair of vice grips on that. Which I'll want some. Alrighty. Alright. Let's see if we can get this out. Shit. I'd say we got the easy out in there nice. Just wants to screw itself into it more. That is in there solid. And when I mean solid, I mean it is in there rock solid. It's going to be easy for me to drill it and stuff around with them. I do have some real good ones here, but I ain't using them in it. I only use them for very good shit, like in motorbikes and stuff like that. Just drop that on the ground. It's not very good. Alright, let's drill it. I've had enough of fucking around it. I need to go up to the next size, but I'm trying to get away with that. I don't want to damage the thread. Because I'm going to have to put a helicoil in if I do. Hopefully I'll be able to get it enough. The next drill bit's going to be a bit too big for that. I'm going to see if I can find one that's a little bit, that's why I can take out shit in the back of it. But I was thinking, find one, it's a little bit bigger than that. And when I do that, I'll bring this back. Alright, I found one a little bit bigger. Shit, I think I might have just grabbed the threads in accidentally. You know, I'm not 100% sure. After you've drilled an ear like that, get yourself a punch and a hammer. And what we'll do is we'll try and cave it in like that. Bloody oath. Furious about that. what I'll do is I'll get the other size of it out of this other motor. I'll work out what size it is, and I'll might be able to get away with just putting a tap in it. Alright, since we're damaging up the switch, I'm going to pull this wires off it and try and get this switch out. Without damaging it. Here's our switch. Looks like something's really been stuffing around with it before. And of course, they put a crack in it. Right up there. We look like they've clamped something on it. But that's lucky. Still got a good switch for this motor. We're not here for the switch though. We need to get this fuel fitting out. How can we do that without rigging? Spanner here, shifter. Be very gentle with it. I'll wreck it. Move that gear lever out of the way. Go very gentle with it, the whole way. Don't go trying to do anything stupid with it. It's coming out nicely. Like that. Out too, that's good. And we need to get that last bit of trash out of there, out of here, which I'll run a tap or something through it. I'll find out what size this is. Don't know. It'll be about a 10mm. If I can't get all this stuff out complete and I do damage the thread, I'll put a helicoil in it. It's no big deal. The choke one will screw straight in, and let's clean it up first. And yeah. And when I'm ready to do that, I'll just play around this for a minute. I'll just get a couple of tools and I'll find the right tap and I'll be back. So after searching across those hair long for the correct tap, I'll just set the tap up. Tap in the holder, get the bar, and get the bar out for it. I went for another tap set, got another tap set as well, and took me ages just to get this one, to find this right piece. Let's go and get the tap. Alright, let's see if we can get this tap started. see if we can dig some more of that crap out. I've got it as close as possible. I've been picking away, trying to get into it, because it's got a fine little need to run the drill in a little bit. You can see it in it. Look at this. There's only the tiniest little bit of this crap in it still, and I can't seem to just pick it off. I don't want to make the hole any bigger. That's a big no-no. Might put the tap in the drill. Use it, run the drill with it. Oh, this is not heat. You're not supposed to use taps like this. I'll run up through there a couple of times. Looks like we have saved the majority of the thread in it, which is good. I'll just get the fuel thing, we'll see if it screws in there. Alright, we've got the fuel fitting. Let's see if we can get this to screw in it. If we can, we've done a good job. If we can't, we've done a shit job. Oh, what is that bloody shift? What a make sure when you go to put this stuff in these motors, make sure you get them in there properly. And just go screwing in there or forcing stuff. If it doesn't go in the threads, don't go cross threading it and stripping it. You know what I mean? You got to use your brain a bit. Looks like I've done a good repair on this. I've saved it, luckily. If it screws all the way in, because we need to make sure it goes all the way in, because if it gets tugged sometime, it'll end up ripping itself out. So it is nice and tight on the that's it. She's in there nice. Look at that. Gotta clean all them filings out and everything. That shit's gonna have to come out. Don't need that getting in the carby. But look at that, we've got that. And we've also got the choke too. Just give that choker, that choke slot, bit of carb clean my herder. Right, that's for the carby clean. And what we'll do is we'll get some grease off this motor, and we need to make sure we put grease all around this thread. We've got plenty here spare. That way I'll make it go in nice, and if someone ever needs to take it out, I'll be able to get it back out. So we'll put that in there. We can't go forcing this, so if it doesn't go, otherwise you'll snap it off. It's very tight. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to probably run a tap through that. Run a tap through it. It's just a bit tight for me to be wanting to force this. It goes in a bit, and then it gets really tight. So yeah, I'd say I'll run a tap in it, through it, and yeah, that's it. Clean that up. The next video you'll see of it, which will be the last, I'll put the fuel on and clean this crap out. See if we can pull starter and get it going with the pull starter. Clean the motor up, and she'll be good to get back in service. And yeah, when I come back, we'll put a new fuel hose on it, clean her up, and get her running, and that'll be it for the 15 horsepower Chrysler. Screw that in. Connect up. Right. That's done. Now we're gonna change this fuel line, and I'll go and get the pliers. Alright, got a bit of pliers here. Just squeeze that in. Yep, got it. Then we push that off, get it screwed off. Prise this line off. Just like that. Right, now I'll go and get a new fuel line, and once I find one of them, I'll bring these back. Alright, that's a new fuel line here. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to thread this fuel line under here on the bottom of the car. pull that fuel line through. Leave plenty of length on it. 2 hands for this. And when I do that, I'll bring this back. Alright, it had one of these stupid rings on it. I swapped the clamp over one of them clamps on it. So now we've done that, got the hose out the front, got all hooked up. I can't hook up the fuel hose to the actual nozzle because I don't have an outboard. I'm going to run this outboard in a minute. Once I get a bin of water and that set up, we'll start her up. Righto, does the engine start by its pull start? Let's find out. That's it for the 15 horsepower motor. See, she's all complete. So we'll put the cover on and that's done. 10 horsepower up shortly after I get rid of this motor out of the water. And yeah, I just wanted to do a quick video on this motor before I pack it up. This is how you adjust your idle on here, and the mixer screw's got to be 1 to 1.5 turns out. That's where you start from, wind and set it to 1 to 1.5 turns. And on this Chrysler motor, I've got another way of starting it. Old pull start cord. What a beautiful little engine. This is the 15 horsepower motor. Pull starter works properly now. As you can see, this is the 10 horsepower. I'll start this motor up, I'll give you a listen. I mean to do it the whole time. The only reason I've swapped all the good parts off the 10 for the 15. And I'll just pull it with the rope in the top of it, and I'll show you that in a minute how to do that if you've got these motors and you're having problems starting. And that's the 10 horsepower, 15's right here. But yeah, because that impeller's got that lump in it, I think about grinding the impeller down in it because it's still a good motor. But yeah, about that pull starter, what you do is, give us a look at what you do. What you do is you get a cord, you start it there in the top of it, hold on to it with your finger so it doesn't pull through, like this, wrap the cord up, and you can pull it like that. Obviously I've got to hold the engine, I can't do it with one hand. That's how you do it. Try and give us a look at how to wrap it. Cord in there, go around. You need, if you've got a long enough cord, it's great. What I suggest too is priming it, turn it a couple of times when the engine's cold, and put your hand on the side of it. You can actually start it like that. That's how long the cord is. I'll show you on the ground. That's how long the cord is I've got. And I've used. It's a bit short, but it does work. So if you have got a Chrysler engine and you pull start stuff, it's a good motor. Starter on the top here. That's a solution. So just put her in there, hold it, wrap it up. I suggest that you stand at the side here, like this. Put one hand on the side, don't put it nowhere near the flywheel. Keep one hand solid there. Brace yourself and hold the engine, like that. And then just pull it. The faster you go with it, the easier it will start. You don't even need the Chrysler pull starter to get them going. But yeah, once they're tuned up and that, they'll start real easy. I've got this one all nice. This one's all hooked up. Pull starter works properly. I don't want to go starting up, just out running it on go. But yeah, that's that motor. She's ready to back in service. The old 10, good for parts motor. That's as far as I can tell, everything on the 10 horsepower, the fuel pump, you know, carby, got all linkages. Even the gearbox in the bottom is the same. The only thing with the long shafts is the spacer in the water pipe tube. Is this spacer here and the water pipe tube in it. That's the only difference between this motor and the short shaft. So you can use the bottom leg of it, you'd have to swap the water tubes over though. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, everything's exactly the same. The choke's the same, stop switch is the same, even the impeller cover is the same as the 10 and 15. Even the cylinders look exactly the same, you wouldn't even be able to tell. Flywheel, coil. So yeah, if you've got another junk motor, you can make one out of two. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If you've enjoyed this part 1 and part 2 of the Chrysler outboard motor videos.